going on, everybody? Cabana Greg here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing my very first post-platinum review of Ape Academy 2. Hey, that rhymes. So, as I've just mentioned, this is my very first post-platinum review that I'm going to be doing on the channel, and you might be asking yourself, what the heck is a post-platinum review? Well, I'm glad you asked. So the whole idea behind these post-platinum reviews is that I'm going to be reviewing a game, its trophy list, so all the different trophies that you can unlock in the game, and more specifically, I'm going to be reviewing its platinum trophy. Is it a fun platinum trophy? Is it an easy platinum trophy? Will you want to pull your hair out if you have to play this game to get the platinum trophy? Things like that. And more specifically, what I really want to focus in on are games that I've recently platinumed. Before we hop into the review of Ape Academy 2 and its trophy list, just wanted to say, if you are enjoying this content, if you want to see more stuff like this, consider subscribing, maybe hitting the like button down below, and more stuff will be coming down the pipeline soon, hoping to get more of these post-platinum reviews finished. So enough of my rambling, let's dive into Ape Academy 2. Ape Academy 2 is on PlayStation Plus, it's on the Extra service, and it was originally a PSP game, and I actually played the original Ape Academy, or Ape Escape Academy, I should say, on my PSP. So when I saw there was a second Ape Escape Academy, which was just called Ape Academy for whatever reason, I took the chance to play it for a bit and see what it was all about. And what I found was that it's a very boiled down, watered down minigame type experience. And they tried to shoehorn this like card game into the core gameplay loop, which really just boils down to a bunch of rock, paper, scissors fights, and I didn't think it was that engaging. Honestly, they could have just made a series of mini games and I would have been content with that. Specifically, one of my biggest issues with these types of games, these minigame driven games, I guess you could say, is that the variety of the mini games is really hit or miss. I only got like 10 or 20 mini games overall, and there's supposedly like 100 mini games or something like that. I never saw more than the same 20 or so mini games. I would see stuff online, people got these mini games that I never played at all, and again, I had to play a bunch of rounds to get all these trophies, so I literally haven't seen most of the games, mini games I should say, in Ape Academy 2. And without further ado, let's go ahead and actually take a look at the trophy list, and I'll break down all the various trophies to Ape Academy 2, and I'll give you a general idea of how I felt about the game, the trophy list, and whether or not you should platinum this game or not.
Alrighty, everybody. So here we are on PSN profiles right now, taking a look at Ape Academy 2's trophy list. It is really fair. I don't think it's going to take too much time for you to actually net that platinum. And we'll go through each of the trophies, and I'll kind of give you some advice, or at least mention some findings from my end, having played this game recently and gone for the platinum. So the first thing I want to say is most of these trophies are story related. You can get all of these just playing the main story, and honestly, you'll get most of the trophies just naturally playing the game without even resorting to a guide or referencing something online, like most of the time when you have these trophy lists, right? So that's a nice thing. There's no missable trophies. And so specifically for these first few trophies, defeat the boss on Traffic Safety Island, on Sumo Paradise. Basically, these are all story related up until Spectre decked out. These are all main story based. So just play the game, go through the story, beat the main bosses of each of the islands, and then you'll net all of these really nice silver trophies. So I would say just go through the main story, right, and then you'll just have no problem with these trophies. And then this also kind of feeds into these Pipotron trophies for ambushed, and then these other two here. So we got yellow Pipotron, blue Pipotron, and then red Pipotron. So each time you select an encounter or a battle to engage another monkey in, what you can do actually to increase your chances to have a Pipotron encounter is if you just make a selection for a battle that you want to take on with another monkey, and then hit circle and back out of that battle that you want to have. Select the battle again, back out of the battle, select the battle, back out of the battle. So basically, each time you make a selection to engage in a battle with another monkey, there's a slight chance that one of these Pipotrons are actually going to engage in a battle with you instead. And I will say that the yellow Pipotron typically is when you're on the first two islands of the game. Blue Pipotron is when you're in the middle half of the game, and then red Pipotron's the last two islands of the game. You'll eventually have these encounters with these specific monkeys. So these are pretty standard, pretty straightforward. And then the other two here that are kind of interesting are these uncommon strength and rare power trophies. And you can see that you have to play a card with 9 or 10 bananas or 11 or 12 bananas. And the interesting thing about these trophies actually As I've kind of mentioned, this is a card-based game, and if anyone's actually played something like Faria, for example, I don't personally play Faria, but a good friend of mine he's really good at Faria, and I've watched him play a couple of times. But it's similar to mana pools in Faria, where you need like a certain number of mana points to play certain cards in that game. Bananas kind of act like your mana pool or your mana reserves, where the more bananas you have, you can play sort of these high impact cards, these cards that will actually like change the battle in your favor. So every time you like win a mini game, every time you like pass on a hand, so like maybe you don't have any cards to play, so you pass on playing any cards at all, you'll get bananas. And there's also cards that you can play in the game to steal bananas from your opponent. And so these the 9 or 10 bananas is pretty even, like pretty common. I got this just naturally playing the game. But for the 11 or 12 bananas, the interesting thing about this trophy is that anytime you beat any of these bosses here, so like the blue monkey, this monkey here, the Pop Queen Island monkey, anytime you beat these boss monkeys, you'll get their card. And their cards typically have a banana count of like 11 or higher. So just play through the game, and whenever you beat each of these bosses, or any of these bosses, I should say, you'll get their card. And their card has like I said, their card usually has like an 11 or 12 banana count. And just, if you're going for that trophy specifically for rare power, just hoard a bunch of bananas on your end, try to steal as many bananas as you can, and then hopefully you draw one of the boss cards and just play that boss card, and you'll easily get this trophy too. Execute a combo. Here's the next one here for the 1-2 punch trophy. This one is pretty much like a combo in this game is anytime you and your opponent play the same type of card. So like, let's say you play a paper and your enemy that you're facing up against plays a paper too. That's going to result in a draw, right? Because they're the same type. They're both papers. So anytime you end in a draw, that actually, you won't play that card for that round, but it counts towards a combo. So like, let's say you play a paper and your enemy plays a paper. That's a draw. And then the next hand you play a rock, and then your enemy plays a scissor. Well, you win that hand, right? And so long as you win the mini game, you initiate a combo where the card that you couldn't play, which is that paper that you first played, that gets counted towards, your victory. And then, the rock that you played will also count towards your victory. So anytime you have a draw that takes place and then you win the subsequent hand and mini game, it's a combo. So I actually got this like in the second match in the story mode. So this will come pretty easily as well, like nothing weird here. But the interesting thing here about these draw systems, the hardest one I think for me early on was this unlucky draw trophy, where you have to redraw an entire hand. So this is if this one's weird because you have to have the exact same type of cards as your opponent. So like you need to have 2 scissors and 2 papers, and your opponent needs to have 2 scissors and 2 papers. And basically what you want to do is initiate a draw for all 4 cards that you have in your hand, because you get 4 cards per hand. What you want to do is have 4 separate draws, and once you both have a complete full draw, then the game randomly assigns you and the opponent 4 new cards from each of your decks. PlayStation 5 has a rewind state, so if you like make a mistake or anything like that, you can always rewind your game a few frames before you made a choice, and then you can try and exploit that to help with the redraw, basically. Next one here is Monkey Defender. So this is successfully defend against a penalty. So what this means is if you lose a card hand, so like let's say you play paper and the enemy you're facing up against plays scissor, what that means is that if the enemy wins, they're going to apply an effect or negative effect on your character. But if you successfully win the mini game, that's called a defense, right? Like you negated the status attribute or the status effect that your enemy was trying to play on you, and you successfully defended that attack. So basically, like if your enemy wins a hand, just win the mini game, and that's considered a defensive act, and you'll get this trophy no problem. Monkey Original is a little weird. This one is play against the classic monkey. I think this is just one where you have to keep playing the game and keep encountering monkeys. And since you have to win 50 card battles here, which is Academy Champ, you'll probably get Monkey Original just fine. Same goes for play 50 minigames. Just play the story and you'll play 50 minigames. If you're like me, you'll play the same 10 minigames 50 times, but potato, right? So the only other thing here is the discover a hidden shop and go seek. This one's a little weird. I had to look this up online to see exactly like where I needed to go. But what happens is anytime you buy or sell a ton of cards from the shops that are on each of the main islands in the story mode, anytime you buy or sell a bunch of cards, you'll have these shops, these hidden shops that pop up. And for me, all I had to do was go to the first island and click on the UFO that's on the top left of the first island. So you might be different for you, but for me, I just had to go to that UFO, and that was pretty much it. Aside from that, you've got like 20% of the cards collection, which is very standard, like story-based sort of thing that you can earn pretty easily. And then you have leisurely reading, which is viewing the monkey album on the main menu. So all you can do is like as soon as you load this game, and I'll just scroll up here, 65% is pretty common. So as soon as you load this game up, you install it. If you just go to monkey album right from the main menu, this trophy trophy will unlock instantly. And then these two trophies here, it goes into letters, and A is for Ape. These are the grindiest of the two trophies, or the grindiest trophies in this list, because you have to get promoted to rank A. So what you can do for A is for Ape is once you beat the main story mode, just challenge the final boss over and over and over and over again, and eventually you'll rank up to A. But I think it took me like 8 or 9 or 10 matchups, so it took me some time. I thought it was a little tedious and annoying, but this one definitely is the grindiest of all. And then you have another Monkey Album based trophy. You'll need to have played a minigame for, you know, this trophy to pop, but basically if you select Monkey Album from the main menu, you can then see all of the minigames that you've played, and then you can choose to replay any given minigame, and that's how you'll get on-demand play. Monkey Savings and Going Bananas are the next two here. These are again all related to, you know, how many bananas you have during a given card session. So again, there are cards that you can play to actually steal bananas from your opponent, and every time you win a hand, every time you win a minigame, you will get bananas from doing, you know, from winning the game. So, you know, you just have to hoard a bunch of these bananas or play a bunch of cards that actually steal, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 bananas from your opponent at any given time. And the last 3 here are Challenging Spectre with a rank of B or higher, which again, you can just fold that trophy over into the A's for Ape trophy. So as you're going and getting promoted to rank A, just keep challenging Spectre as the last boss, and eventually you'll get this trophy as well, no problem. For these last 2 trophies here, I Need a Boost and Recycling. These are both shop-specific trophies. So what I ended up doing for these, for I Need a Boost, where you buy a card pack in any shop, what I did was I used the PlayStation 5's rewind functionality, and what I did was I went and bought a card pack from the first shop, and then I clicked pause, because if you just click pause on your PS5, you can actually skip back a few instances before you actually, you know, in this case, bought the card pack. So I hit pause on my PlayStation 5 and went back a few frames before I actually bought the card pack, and I was able to get my money back immediately, but I still kept my trophy. And the same thing I did for sell a card in any shop. But this is kind of the general trophy list for Ape Academy 2. I would say overall, you know, this is for me, in terms of overall enjoyment and how fun the trophy list was, I'd say it's like 50-50, you know. Most of the mini games, like I said, I only played like 20 of the same mini games, like a dozen or so times, so that was kind of boring. But in terms of like the overall difficulty here, it is like a 1. It is super, super easy to get this platinum trophy. 1 for the difficulty, very, very easy. And overall enjoyment really is going to depend. For me, it was 50-50. I had a good time with it in the beginning, but by the end, I was getting super annoyed with the game loop, the game structure. And I would say that the grindy trophy to look out for is ranking up to rank A.
So that's it. That's my post-platinum review. You know, I think that there are some very fair trophies in here. It's a very easy trophy list to go and platinum the game, but the only consideration there is, do you really want to play the game? Like, do you really think that these mechanics are going to pull you in for the 4 or 5, however many hours it's going to take you to do this? But there are plenty of great guides out there, and I'm hoping that some of the stuff that I mentioned when I was doing the trophy review will help you in sort of achieving this platinum even faster. But if it doesn't, you know, there's plenty of other resources out there to help you out too. So thanks again, everyone. Really appreciate you stopping by to watch this post-platinum review. And yeah, again, if you like more stuff like this, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you all on the next video.